Good morning, everyone. Brian Rhodes here. Well, I was really excited yesterday. I got the blog out regarding the casting director. Ooh, it's moving forward very nicely. And I also got a call from a friend. We had a coffee, and he asked me if I'd take a look at a script that he and his team have written. It needs to be punched up a bit, and he wondered if I might be able to do it. So I thought, well, as if I don't have enough on my plate, yeah, I'll take a stab at it. It's a challenge. It's apparently ready for funding, so I thought it'd be interesting to find out just how good a screenplay it is. Well, happy up here and then sad down here, way low, when I finished reading it for the first time. And what I thought I'd do right now is I kind of share with you very quickly, in my opinion, as to why this screenplay is not going to work. In fact, I would question if it's a screenplay. It's more of a novelette that's in speak form, so to speak. Anyway, if I could share that with you while it's fresh in my mind, it might give you some insight as to how you might avoid crafting a story in the same way. Without giving away too much, and again, emphasizing my opinion, I took the story, I sat down and read. After I finished, or the screenplay I should say, and I read. After I finished the first time through, I started saying to myself, okay, I've got a general idea, but I couldn't find what I was looking for. So I go back the second time, okay, what am I looking for? Well, the first thing I'm looking for in the first 10 to 12 pages is I want to know more of who these characters are, and I want to know, why they're together, what they're doing. And I want to know also what the story is, right? So, I started reading again, got past the 10 or 15 pages. Still nothing, the second read through. I started looking at just trying to identify one as the hero. Really couldn't. I started looking at them as a group and how do they interact with each other. And I really didn't discover a lot, except a couple of them don't like each other. One of them screwing around with one of the other guy's girlfriends. A couple of them don't want to be in the band. They're fed up, etc. But really nothing compelling, nothing that's that I could see as being something. Yeah, I can see why he feels that way. There's just nothing. And then of course, story. I didn't see one at all, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be a boys in the band story. Find stardom in the end. I fall into that trap myself, and it was a hard lesson to learn. It doesn't really work that way in life more often than not. Anyway, so it begs you to discover what story you're telling is the point I'm making. So anyways, okay, I thought, well, maybe it's a little further on, and if I find these points, I can bring them back and maybe readjust them and get the story more refined. Anyways, I read on, still couldn't find a story, no common thread. What I found was we had here a collection of various vignettes, scenes that were put together about an individual goes off, something happens to that individual, but when they come back, they're not a more enlightened person, they're not a better person, they're not a worse person, and they don't bring back anything that shares in the whatever it is, the drive that's keeping these people together to reach or attain their goal, which none of them really seem wanted to be working at. So if that is the case of being finding success as artists or entertainers. So, I thought, okay, well, I'll read it through again, make notes all along, and then maybe I can come back and inject somehow a story into this and develop a log line from all of this that I could use to maybe pump it up a bit. So I got right through, and I'm 20 pages, no, not even that, 10 pages from the end, I believe, and I just stopped. And I said, how did I get here? Well, something, only because there were words on a page and I was following. I really had no idea where I was as a reader. I had no idea what state of mind, quite frankly, the hero was in, or the heroes were in. And I don't think I was any better off. In fact, I know I was no better off at this point than I was, when I started the story. And so, again, I tried to craft, maybe the events that brought me here. Well, there really weren't any. There was no push after, the first 10 or 15 minutes to push you into the first act. There was no push or event or anything that would affect us to the point as readers where we saw a movement into the second act. And there was absolutely nothing to take us into the third act, which should have happened a few pages ago when I was reading it. So in fact, I do not even know if I'm in the third act or second act now. And then, of course, I read the final pages, and it was unfortunate, but, you know, it was the obvious conclusion that you saw the minute you saw the guys were in a band, and that somehow or another they were going to be winners in the end by, you know, becoming famous and or lining up a tour or something of that nature. Now, there are some really great stories written with those conclusions, but in this case, you know, it's so obvious from the page one, literally, to the last page. What's going to happen is, why bother even read this jumble of scenes and whatnot to get to where you know you're going to end up? So from that point of view, the screenplay has tremendous difficulties written into it. The noble outcome that they have is, you know, probably best expressed in some respects in I don't know how many movies, you know, especially when you look at the trials and tribulations in Almost Famous, which is really kind of cool to say the least, and you know, many others. So, you know, if you're going to take that on as a task, you better make sure that your story is so tight, so strong, and so individualistic and interesting that's going to top those. And in this case, it just doesn't top those in any way, shape, or form. So I now have to craft an answer to these fellows, and I'm pretty damn sure the answer is going to be, it's too big a project for me. It needs a complete rewrite. In fact, it's probably not worth spending any more money on. Listen, I'll keep you posted, and that's it for today. Look forward to speaking to you again maybe tomorrow or certainly on Friday. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.